Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing Dumpee Experience Stage 3. I provide audio and email coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details, www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing Dumpee Experience Stage 3. So today is the final part of a mini-series that I've put out to you describing the likely experiences that a Dumpee will go through. It goes without saying that I am having to generalise, and that not every single Dumpee will experience every single element that I have described. However, through my research, these are the most likely experiences that a Dumpee will go through, and hence that's why I decided to do the mini-series, so that you as a Dumpee could look out for and listen to understand what you are likely to go through and experience as you go through the grind, as you go through the struggle, and ultimately as you go through the journey to happiness. So we've already spoken about being a stage 1 Dumpee, and we've already spoken about being a stage 2 Dumpee. Today, we're obviously focusing on being a stage 3 Dumpee, and that is the final part of the journey. But I do need to also add that there is no set time limit between the stages. Everybody is different, and everybody will go through their own journey at a different pace. It's also important to understand that if somebody makes a connection, whether it's with their ex or with somebody new, then of course they will be leaving the journey as well. So you might be going through the journey at your own pace just as your thoughts evolve, or you might be leaving the journey because you either get your ex back or you meet somebody new. Now, as a stage 1 Dumpee, that would not be something that you would even be considering. A stage 1 Dumpee is where you are thinking of your ex 24/7 and you just can't ever imagine being with anybody else. In your mind, your ex is perfect. You have really put them on a pedestal, and without really realising, you probably are feeling stronger feelings towards them now than you actually did when you was in the relationship. Because that is what happens. There is nothing more attractive than rejection. So when you are rejected, when you are dumped, you are a stage 1 Dumpee, you are going through a combination of grief and drug withdrawal. They are the feelings that you are feeling. You're only focusing on trying to get your ex back. You could never imagine dating anybody else. And hence you will remain a stage 1 Dumpee until you get your ex back or your thoughts begin to evolve. And if they begin to evolve before you get your ex back, you will move into becoming a stage 2 Dumpee. And a stage 2 Dumpee is where you still want your ex back, but you are now open to talk and to date other people. You still want your ex back to the respect of you wouldn't get serious with anybody else. You probably wouldn't consider a long-term relationship with anybody else, because all you are thinking is, I do want my ex back, but I understand now that speaking to other people, dating other people, that is not going to detract from the possibility. It's not going to wreck my chances of getting my ex back if I speak to somebody else, if I date somebody else. In fact, you start to understand that it will actually increase the chances of you re-attracting your ex, because firstly, you're not going to be doing anything silly because you are focusing on other people rather than your ex. But additionally, through social proofing, through self-improvement, all of these kind of things will naturally and generally drip back to your ex without you having to say anything at all. They're likely to hear things through friends of friends, social media, or they might just get that feeling, if all of a sudden you've gone absolutely radio silent on them, they might just understand that you're probably dating somebody new. These things are actually going to grow the level of romantic emotional attraction in your ex's mind. But at this stage, as I've just said, long term, you're only interested still in your ex, and anybody that you do get in contact with, anybody that you do build a connection with, you would probably drop instantly if your ex contacted you and asked you on a date. So once again, during stage 2, you are likely to only leave stage 2 If your ex contacts you, you rebuild your connection, and therefore you get back with your ex. Or your thoughts evolve. Like they did from stage 1 to stage 2, they can do the same from stage 2 to stage 3. Again, there is no time limit. It could be weeks, months, years before you move into stage 3. So being a stage 3 dumpee means that you've not got your ex back and you have been living the life of a stage 2 dumpee for a certain period of time. As I've said, there is no set time limit. But being a stage 3 dumpee is where you actually get to know somebody that starts to change your mindset completely. You actually start to get to know somebody where you feel to yourself, you know what? I really like this person and I really want to explore something deeper with them. And as time moves forward with this, you start to understand that you might have just found somebody who ticks more of your boxes than your ex did. Now that seemed impossible in stage 1, and it seemed very unlikely in stage 2. But when you're in stage 3, you have actually met that person that has ticked more boxes than your ex did. And it is a real change of mindset. It is real like a light bulb moment in your head. You think, wow, I'm not just kind of treading water with this person. I'm not just passing the time because I like a few things about them. I really like this person. You might have spoke to a lot of people. You might have dated a lot of people. And all of a sudden you come across somebody who really, really throws you. And they throw you because you can't believe how ideal they seem for you. You think this person's impossible. Like, they actually seem more compatible with me than my ex did. How can that be? And you'll go through this back and forth mindset approach. But slowly it will evolve to the point of where you start to believe that this person has a better connection for you than your ex ever was. You actually start to believe and understand that this person will give you a better chance of long-term happiness than your ex ever did. And additional to this, they haven't hurt you, whereas your ex obviously ended the relationship. So they seem to tick more boxes. And additionally, they haven't yet hurt you. You don't know what the future holds. Nobody does. But at this moment in time, they certainly have not hurt you. Whereas your ex, all of a sudden you're comparing them and you think, well, they don't tick as many boxes and they have hurt me at this stage. This new person starts to grow in your mind. They start to become more and more valuable. And once this hits a level where you actually come to the realization, I don't want my ex back. I don't want my ex back. And I want to be with this person. I want to evolve this relationship and I want to get serious. And I want to have a long-term committed relationship to this person. When you hit that moment, you are a stage 3 dumpee. You are going through that moment of realization where you have found somebody who you deem to be a better match than your ex. Now, when you finally commit, you agree, however you get around to it, to the fact of where you both understand you are in a committed long-term relationship in which you are not going to dash back to your ex if they contact you, that is when you are no longer a dumpee at all. Being a stage 3 dumpee is the realization. But once you get into a new committed relationship, you have obviously ended your journey. You have left the path. So like I said, a stage 1 dumpee, you can only really leave from this if your ex gets back in touch and you get back together, or your thoughts evolve to stage 2. Stage 2 is very similar. Stage 2, you can only really leave stage 2 if your ex gets in contact and that you reconnect and you get your ex back, or your thoughts evolve into stage 3. And when you're in stage 3, that is when you are open to the possibility of getting to know this person further. You are starting to understand that they are a much better connection for you than your ex. They haven't hurt you. They are ticking more boxes than you deemed even possible. And you start to understand and come to the realization that you don't want your ex back. And even if they contacted you, you don't want them back. Yes, you might be polite, you might reply, you might ask how they're getting on. You might have a friendly conversation even. But from now on, if your ex contacts you, instead of coming from a place of wanting to try to get them back, you will either ignore them, if that is the position you are in, or you might decide to reply, be friendly, be respectable, be adult about it, you might say, and you might even get into a friendly conversation, but you will be coming from a place of friendship. So it's a different mindset. Previously in stage 1 and stage 2, if a dumper contacted you, then you would be contacting them from a place of trying to get them back. From now on, in stage 3 and beyond, when you are no longer a dumpee, if your ex contacts you, you might not reply, but if you do reply, you are coming from a place of friendship. You are not wanting to get them back. You're just asking them how they are and, wishing them well almost. There is no romantic feeling anymore. And if you're a stage 1 dumpee, you will think that's impossible. If you're a stage 2 dumpee, you will think that's unlikely. But let me tell you, once you've been a stage 2 dumpee for a long enough period, you will meet that person who really throws your mindset off, and you will evolve into a stage 3 dumpee. And that will mean that whether or not you hear from your ex again, you will be happy. Okay, because it doesn't matter anymore. And if you do hear from your ex, if you speak to them, it's from a place of platonic friendship. You're not looking for anything further. You are very happy with your current connection. And that is the end of the dumpee story. And that is why there is a lot of happiness and hope to come from this. Because if you have been dumped, it's win-win for you. You will either get your ex back or you will find somebody even better. Okay? It's win-win. You can't fail because the options are both fantastic. You either get your ex back or you find somebody even better, and you will move forward and live happily. But to get this to this stage does take work. It does take effort. It does take emotional self-control, and it is necessary for you to go through self-improvement. It's vital, in fact. But it doesn't matter what stage you are at right now, you will find happiness. Happiness is around your next corner. You just don't know where that next corner is. So please remember that with or without your ex, you will have a positive future, and understand that whether you get your ex back or whether you meet somebody new, eventually you will feel happiness again. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent Bo, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent Bo got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.